What's up, y'all? It's me, Dr. Paul, with another mail call. Welcome to Liberty Hill Comics. I have over 40 years experience collecting comics, and I share right here on the channel my passion and my experience with collecting, investing, and conservation. Today I have a really important mega key that I'm excited to share with you. This is super early Silver Age, and I think it's highly underrated, and I'm going to share with you why in today's video. So while I open this up, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and sit back, relax, and enjoy this unboxing. By the way, this is how the post office feels about you writing for Gile on the packages. Just kidding. I love the post office. They're still the best deal going by far. All the different carriers make mistakes, but they're the best value. I use them whenever I can. I'm just ribbing them a little bit. This is very well packed. I'm sure it'll be no worse for wear with that little ouchie that the post office did to it. It looks like we have one of these fun unrolling packing jobs. First we go to the right, and we go to the left. It's a whole ritual. I have a lot of anticipation about seeing this book. It's such a big book for me personally. I'm a big fan of these characters, and it's a rare book. It's just not available in the same abundance that most of your Silver Age keys are. So I'm very excited about that. Here comes the reveal. What? Look at this. I'm gonna just rip this because it's already got some holes in it, and I'm gonna get a replacement bag for it. Look at that. Hot damn. Well, you know what I like to say. What is it and why do we care? This is Adventure Comics number 247 from, this says April of 1958. I think it went on sale February of 58. It's written by Otto Binder and of course illustrated by the great Curt Swan. And why we care is it's the first appearance of the Legion of Superheroes, which is a big deal. The Legion of Superheroes was the first Silver Age superhero team. In the period immediately after World War II, superhero comics did not sell well. Nearly all the superhero comics were removed from the newsstand simply for failing to make their publishers any money. By 1950, the only superhero comics still being published were stories starring what we call today DC's Big Three: Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. War, horror, sci-fi, and funny books all survived to one degree or another, although the publication of The Seduction of Innocent and the resulting fervor essentially wiped out horror comics by 1954. After a hiatus of nearly a decade, superhero comics began returning to the marketplace, which sparked what we now refer to as the Silver Age of comics. Most collectors recognized the relaunch of The Flash with a new identity and a new sci-fi origin in October 1956 by Julius Schwartz, Robert Kanigher, and Carmine Infantino to be the first Silver Age comic book. But the Silver Age did not spring forth fully formed like Athena from Zeus's head. In fact, Showcase 5, 6, and 7 didn't even feature the Flash, as DC waited for sales figures back from issue 4 to see if they could even market any superheroes other than the Big Three in the mid-50s. But superheroes did come back, slowly at first, with a new look Green Lantern in October 1959 in Showcase Comics number 22, and then in an avalanche of relaunched and new heroes, culminating for DC in the launch of the Justice League of America in Brave and the Bold number 28, which is March of 1960, and then emboldened by DC's success, Marvel joined the fray with the publication of Fantastic Four #1 in November of 1961, with, of course, Stan and Jack at the helm, and Spider-Man in Amazing Fantasy #15 in August of 1962 from Stan and Steve. The rest is Silver Age history. But you know what happened before all of that doesn't get nearly as much attention as I think it deserves? The first appearance of the Legion of Superheroes. The first Silver Age superhero team, right here, in adventure number 247. February of 1958 is after the recognized beginning of the Silver Age, after the relaunch of Flash in 1956, but it's before any of the other significant events of the Silver Age. 3 new superheroes are introduced in Adventure Comics number 247. Cosmic Boy, Lightning Boy, who would be renamed in his next appearance as Lightning Lad, and Saturn Girl. And we see, when you read the story, that there are other Legionnaires in the background panels who are unnamed. In this 12-page story, the lead and cover story of adventure number 247, the 3 Legionnaires travel back in time to Smallville, reveal to Clark that they know his secret identity, and invite him to travel to their time, 1,000 years in the future, to try out for their superhero club. They punk him, of course, and tell him he's failed in his bid at joining, which causes him to actually cry? And they let him know that they were just kidding, of course, and he's admitted to the Legion. His exploits were, after all, the inspiration for founding the Legion. Many of the elements of the Legion are present in this very first story, including the clubhouse, the futuristic sci-fi setting, the rules for membership, and the knowledge that the Legion has many members we have yet to meet. The Legion are a significant superhero team, being published more or less continuously since the late 1950s and having numerous DC animated appearances, even though they have yet to appear in a major live-action project. Their stories featured some of the first deaths in superhero comics, including the permanent death of Pharaoh Lad in Adventure Comics number 353 in February of 1967, before any other comic book superheroes were dying in stories, which won awards for young adult literature. They were wildly successful for a period in the 80s with Paul Levitz and Keith Giffen at the helm, during which they kicked Superboy out of the club and took his book over. Many believe the Great Darkness Saga, one of the best Legion stories ever told, and one of the best comic book stories of the 80s, and you'll certainly get no arguments from me. Sadly, Crisis on Infinite Earths was, in some ways, the beginning of the end of their popularity. Post-Crisis, DC attempted to clean up its messy continuity, and John Byrne declared that Superman never had powers as a teen and never adventured as Superboy. Therefore, none of the stories involving Superboy existed, and therefore, there was no inspiration for the founding of the Legion. Several writers attempted to make sense of this in the Legion's origin, with multiple retcon relaunches, but the Legion's heyday sadly ended with Crisis on Infinite Earths. But hope springs eternal, and maybe someday we'll get this team restored to its former glory. All it takes is one amazing story to make them relevant again, especially with their rich history. This is a rare book. For such a mega key, it's crazy how few copies there are. There are a mere 437 universal copies of Adventure 247 in the CGC Census, with a median grade of 4.0. That speaks to both the rarity of this book and the difficulty of finding it in high grade. In fact, this book is so difficult in grade that I consider a 6.0 at the 19th percentile to be a high grade copy. In 1958, comics were just not collector's items yet, and although there were at that time some golden age comic book collectors, there was not a lot of interest in what were new comics at the time. This copy, at 2.5 universal with white to off-white pages, is obviously an entry-level copy at the 73rd percentile. But with a book this rare, you find your entry points where you can. This book changes hands infrequently enough that my purchase of this book for $1,778 plus shipping and taxes is the only sale at this grade recorded by GoCollect in the last 12 months. So they list fair market value as $1,800. The record high for this book in CGC 2.5 with off-white pages is $2,425 paid in an eBay auction September 2021. One of the reasons I like these mega key books for long-term investment is that it just hasn't been hit that hard by the bear market in comic books of the last year and a half. It's down only 27% from market high, and assets this sought after will generally always have buyers stepping in when the market corrects. This book is for my personal collection, but should the opportunity present itself for me to acquire a higher grade copy at or below fair market value, I'll happily take it and pass this copy on to another collector. There just are too few copies of this book in the marketplace for it to drop in price dramatically. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video on this rare early Silver Age mega key. Did you realize the Legion was the first superhero team of the Silver Age? Any fans of the Legion out there? If so, what's your favorite Legion story or your favorite Legionnaire? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, happy hunting and take care of one another.